Welcome to another edition of Inside the MFL. I'm your host, Dr. Richard D. Myles Sr., CEO, Chairman, and Founder of the Minor Football League. And if my shirt looking a little funny, y'all, don't get excited. That's because I have on a green shirt today. I want to make sure that everybody, please, now that they're giving people an opportunity, they're giving even the younger people free shots. And don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating for nobody to take it or do not take it. I want people to understand that, do what's best for your family. I have my co-host here, Mr. Keith Jones, coming on. I want everybody to understand. That this COVID is real. We definitely pushed back on the season a little bit, because we can't get the venues because they only allow a certain amount of people in these venues. And right now, it's not conducive for what the MFL is doing. But I promise you, we will, even we play the last few games and do the playoffs, we will definitely do that. So I want all y'all supporters of the MFL Nation that have been with us, that always follow us and stuff, we will get it at the end. We definitely will get it in. But like I say, the mayor just put out, a call out today telling people they can get, for younger people, they can get their vaccination shot. So we're excited about that. We're very excited about that. And we're excited also for people, older people, them young old people like myself. I did go get mine, so I'm excited about that. But we definitely want to get into inside the MFL. As you know, last week we had some of these young men on, interns that I was excited about having on. And it just goes to show you that the MFL is the laboratory of change, and we're giving young people an opportunity to come here and intern with us. I'm excited because I know we get interns from all over the country. Now that things open up, I'm a little reluctant about it. I'm just a little reluctant about the opening up in different areas, which we doing that now. But that doesn't apply for all the sporting events that are coming up and for what we're doing. But like I say, we're definitely going to make sure that we get prepared to go. We do have our teams are in camp doing what they need to do in terms of for the league. So we're excited for them, and kudos to our people that are coming on, that's in camps and stuff. And we also tell these young men we want them to be careful as well, because like I say, the MFL is the laboratory of change. And like I say, for those of y'all looking at my shirt and wonder why it's gleaming like that, all these different colors, because it's green and it has black stripes in it. So I thought I would take a break from the MFL attire. Wish I had it, but I did have a meeting today. But I want y'all to know that the MFL, we will go as soon as we have an opportunity for them to open the venues up. Right now, some venues, they opening up, but not to where we needed to open up. Right now, I think for Little League now, they out there. I just want to make sure that everybody is safe, from the fans to the players to the coaches to GM. So we want people to understand that we want to get going as much as the next person. My date they're talking about. We had a meeting with some of my board members, and we was talking about what they say, maybe mid or the end of July. But I will assure you that we will go with the remaining games that left. So getting into what we are doing with the MFL, we're doing our usual things in terms of what we're trying to do with the MFL. We still get a lot of players calling. We have to let the players know in some parts of the country we're not going to go. In some parts we are going to go. But more importantly, that the MFL will go, and we will play those remaining games and give everybody an opportunity to see these young men that come out and working real hard to enjoy what the MFL is doing and experience what the MFL is doing as far as the laboratory of change, bringing, of players, beyond the field. You also want them to understand that the MFL give coaches an opportunity to coach. And we got some young coaches that love the idea that they are getting the opportunity to play and coach. So we're excited about that. But as I stated earlier, we will be trying to get things going as soon as possible, as soon as we can. And right now, like I said, we don't want to dwell on them. We did have Mr. Tate, Coach Tate was coming on, but because of his prior commitment, sometimes we didn't get an opportunity to get him in. But we're excited about what we're doing with the MFL and Mr. Tate. Coach Tate always have bring us up to date and everything, what's going on down in Atlanta, Georgia. We have the Georgia Warriors, and the GM, Mr. Chuck Barlow, doing a great job down there, along with the other GMs and coaches. Like I say, some of the franchises will not go, and we letting people know right now, so won't be surprised. But then again, y'all are aware of what's going on out here in different parts of the country, as well as, what we're doing. So, like I say, we're definitely trying to get everything we can do, only what we can do. We can't do nothing more than that. And I was in a meeting this morning. We was just talking about different players and people of color. And, like I say, please understand, I'm not anti anything. I'm just about people of color doing some extraordinary things. And when I hear certain things about people of color pulling other people of color down, I'm not, trying to preach anything to anybody. I'm just saying we got to do better in terms of if you do not like what somebody else doing of color, don't try to pull them down. Don't try to drag them through the mud, because when you do that, remember, always check on what you're doing as well, because the same thing happens to you. And I tell people, in my age now, people say a lot of things about me and about a lot of other people in the world, but don't worry about it. Let them do what they're doing, because when they talk about you, that's good. When they're not saying anything about you, then that's when you start to worry. And right now, I just like to put that out there. Don't pull one another down. You're giving the enemy an opportunity to do. You helping them to do what they can't do. And a lot of things going on right now on the social media, which y'all know what it is, and I'm not going to get into it, but I just think we need to do better in terms of that. But right now, we do have the teams are getting ready. Right now, we doing a lot of things in terms of making sure all the players, hopefully we tell them that, we don't know what their stance on it, but we like for them to get their COVID-19 shots. That's very important. We want them to really understand about taking and getting that COVID test, because like I say, we want to make sure everybody is safe. And that's what's important with us. We have had a lot of young ladies been calling us. We'll deal with that a little later. Our dance team director, she felt it was good not to go. Right now, let me bring Mr. Keith Jones on. How you doing there, sir?
Doc, yeah, gotta love technology.
Oh,
by the technology, it's.
You better at it than me. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing okay. I'm in queue. I'm waiting to come on, and it says, we can't get you on there. So, anyway, pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me again. And hopefully you're able to fill the time before.
Well, you know me. I was doing that. I'm talking about technology, and when I saw you pop up, and then when I get ready to introduce you, it went. Then Mr. Coach Tate called. He got out of his meeting and stuff, and so he said, I said, well, Keith will be on. Keith, in the world of sports, we want to be big. We were bringing everybody up to date about the MFL, and as you know, we stated, even our season will be almost shot, but we will play the remaining games. I guarantee that we will do that, and we do the best record, but we're going to keep everybody in division. Some parts of the country is not going to go because we can't. And right now, it's a stickler up here in the nation capital. As you know, we got a great mayor. She's doing some great things in terms of trying to protect people and the DMV as a whole. But what's your think on that, Keith? I'm just a little nervous on it.
I'm with you. I'm one of those people that are falling into the more confused bucket these days, because you hear one thing and yes, we're vaccinated, and Myles, you can run around like crazy and go indoors and have dinner with everybody you want to do and all that kind of stuff. And I'm scratching my head saying, wait a second, this is what you told us not to do until everybody gets vaccinated. So for those that are do have the chip in the arm, mine's right here. I still wear a mask. I was at a funeral yesterday and had my mask with me. Fortunately, obviously, it was outside, so that didn't necessitate me wearing one. But even the event inside, people were still wearing masks. Some didn't if they were vaccinated. I was kind of back and forth, but obviously, it's just, to me, it's the social distancing. That's the thing. But that part always seems to get missed by people. It's like they don't know what 6 feet is or what the number 6 is or that type of thing. And that's been going, back to when it started. So I don't know. I still scratch my head, because if you look at the NFL, they're planning on having full capacity at the stadiums. Now they own the properties, which allows them to
I can't afford
to have a little more flexible. Well, but still, they have to go by what the jurisdiction says. And for the Washington football team that plays in Prince George's County, while it has opened up a little bit more, it certainly hasn't gone to full capacity. And the problem with that is, going back to my 6 feet, you're going to be right on. It's like we are in the screen. We're pretty close to each other. We're nowhere in the same vicinity in reality, but when you're in the stadium, the reality is you are right there next to the person. So I'm taking a wait and see attitude. It's nice to hear that things are starting to open more and such, but it's cautious optimism on my part. So I know of youth hockey outbreak where a lot of parents and the players got it, and the majority of the parents specifically were vaccinated. So what does that tell you? That was a whole nother holy cow on that one. So yes, you don't generally die from COVID if you have been vaccinated, but that doesn't mean a lot of them got pretty deathly ill. So a lot of different symptoms going on that way. So that was not certainly not good to hear from my standpoint. I mean, it's good to know that exists, because that's a reality factor, but I wasn't pleased to hear that a lot of people, almost 40 people, got sick in that super spreader that happened in the DC area. So,
and as you know, Keith, that's my concern, because I just getting back, piggyback a little bit on what you were saying. We opening up full capacity or we're not. What did that mean? I'm confused on that, because some places they open up with the Little League baseball, sports, but you're going to allow 20 people in the stands and 50 people on the field. Now, I guess that total both teams, along with the coaches, along with the officiating. That won't work for us. So when we try to talk to them, they said, no, not just yet. So I'm kind of confused. Even in different parts of the country, the stadium, they say, well, we might open up a little more. But what that means? We still sitting on our hands, Keith, because we waiting to know exactly where we're going. And what we're going to do, but it's confusing to me. And then you hear about what some of the Yankee players caught COVID. I mean, you're right. It is confusing, and it's confusing to the point where I don't know, Keith. Should I have waited again? I know it was a great thing to do last year, but you would think, given an opportunity to get these shots now, and even they're talking about the younger people. The mayor was just sending out the thing and saying that young people can take it, but we still don't have people taking those shots.
Right, you have that going on as well, like the lifting of the masks. The word is, if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask around people.
I will.
And and I have a card to show, but you're not really allowed to ask people to show you their card. So to me, it says, "Hey, what if I'm a guy who didn't get vaccinated?" And it says I did, because the world is so truthful these days. And then what do you have there? So I did. And you should scratch your head and say, "It's another WT." It's insane, and it's going to stay insane for quite a while. And I feel bad for the leagues. Matter of fact, you mentioned DCSAA put out a press release just today, a little bit earlier, saying that they were planning on getting back into action, and that's great in essence for what it is. Things, I guess, are getting better from that standpoint. But I go back to the coaches on the sidelines, even at the professional level and the collegiate level, and they're wearing masks, yet they take them off to talk to the players. So it's like, what is going on here? We're wearing the mask. We're not wearing the mask. Are we wearing it here? We're wearing it here. We're wearing it here. I mean, So it's just, here we are. A year and a half later, talking about something that's very serious, not making light of it at all, but it's just the lightheartedness is, still nobody knows, and including one doctor named Fauci. So it's just every time you get information from some other legitimate, what you deem as legitimate source, I don't know. Word is that the DC is going to open more in June, and we'll see how that goes. And again, if you're inside and you're at a restaurant or an adult beverage place, what's that scenario going to be like? Because tours, I feel bad for any business person, the restaurateur, and you're a business person as well. So you're included in there. You're trying to run your business, but you can't run your business because you're held to different parameters, and that's fine. But who really can say when those parameters should shift or how much they should shift? And that's the gazillion-dollar question, really, because if you had that answer, you'd be a richer man than you are.
Well, now we're winning the lottery. We'll know the numbers to it. But I also wanted to say, Keith, and didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
The great thing about this country that I always say, the problem is having rights. You can have so many rights, you don't have no rights at all. You know what I mean? Because everybody got rights. Yeah, well, I got the right not to wear a mask. I have the right for you to wear a mask. So, and as you stated, a few minutes ago, it hurts us, especially somebody like me, because we only can we need to know the numbers that we can have in the stadium. We need to know that number. Or if you don't, it doesn't make sense if not. Because I'm still going to have to pay for the venue. I'm still going to pay for the officials. I'm still got to pay for the buses that come. So where does it, it's not even out for me, so it becomes confusing. And most people saying, maybe you shouldn't go. Then you got people, you should go, don't worry about it. But that's okay for you to say that. But if somebody caught COVID from this, they're going to be pointing at the MFL to say, well, they shouldn't have went. So we just trying to, we're trying to be very mindful and very respectful of the rules. But what is the rule? There's no clarity there in terms of exactly how we do this, Keith.
Right, absolutely, and that's part of the issue too, because again, going back to the business person standpoint, which you are, it doesn't matter what entity you're running, you've got to look at your bottom line and say, at what point can I make this profitable or at least break even? I can't do this at a loss because I'll ultimately go out of business, and the downfall will be tremendous. And that's the same thing with the MFL, because you have a lot of employees, you have a lot of people engaged in the sport of football, the players, the coaches, you can throw in the officials, and and a lot of other people. Yeah. They
have to be paid.
So you can't make a mistake. You can't make a mistake. You know,
I can make one. Everybody else has allowed several mistakes. I'm going to allow one. And I'm looking at this all the time. We constantly looking at this because the buses don't care. You know, they got one, person there, not saying it, like they're not, insensitive about it, but they're doing their job to transport the team, and it's just one of them. Also, then you're talking about the hotel. That has to be so. I have to make smart decisions, and I have over the years. And right now, that's why I said that just to assure people that okay, at the end of July they start opening up. It will beat us up, but it won't hurt us to the extent that the teams, the division up here, will play the teams here. Just plays the teams down in the south. You play the teams down there. Y'all stay down there until it's playoff time, and then you send one team up for a playoff.
What hockey did.
You know what I mean? So, and then I was looking at something that you said a while ago. I don't know if you remember. If I can get a venue up here that I can bring the teams to and say, okay, look, we'll play a 1 o'clock from 1 to 4, and then we'll play a night game from 7 to 9. We can kill two birds with one stone, because now you got a centrally located place. It's not like the team coming far, because you're talking about New Jersey. Was that 2.5 hours to come here? Okay, well, Maryland is across the street from D.C. The Chiefs, and so that's kind of good. The only person would do the traveling would be them, but we will be able to, have the game, and then people have an opportunity to really be lucky enough to see 2 games if you want to, because the season ticket is a season ticket, and we won't be able to get all 5 games in. So you get an opportunity to see 2 games. So we can do it that way. And I am going up there and talk to my alma mater again. They say things up until what is it? That's where the confusion comes in there. You know what I mean? But Cardozo would be a great centrally located place for that. And the only team we would have to bring in would be, the Raiders. So, and then up there, I'm going to talk to him about doing the same thing up there for his home game. We just bring him in there and do 2 games. You could, you know what I mean? My mind always going, Keith. You know what I mean?
It's a really good idea, actually. I mean, once you've cleared it and such, you might as well. I mean, if you could get 3 games in, you get 3. 2 obviously makes
playoffs. And just, we come out smelling like rose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's something that you said, and really, I've been thinking about that. And I talked to some board members, and it makes sense if we could do that. What better place in DC after the game to have fun? You could stay, watch the other team, and you can then you can enjoy yourself. And then it's not a lot of time wasted, because 1 o'clock game will be great from 1 to 4. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then from 7 to 9. I mean, it was just something that we really looking at. If we can talk to people, and then that way you can get these games in.
Well, I think important. I think playing anything, and this is what we've seen with Little League and even some of the high school organizations around the country, and then that's what it is. I mean, it's really mentally good for the kids that are playing to get outside, as well as to be around other kids their age and to play a sport. So I do understand that wholeheartedly. But adults are just big kids anyway, so it's not that that's much different anyway. I mean, I know how you are with football, and I'm much the same. I need the action. I need to be able to get out and call a game or cover a game or whatever the case may be, because it's just the habitat that you become used to. But that's it's just human nature that way, and it's been really a different way to think about things. But when you look at some of the pro sports leagues and they're playing, although the NBA has struggled because they were doing well in the bubble when they first went around, and then they had the playing games now for the for the playoffs, because the season's kind of gone floundering. And then you look at what happened happened again in baseball with the outbreaks. We had it last season. There's a bunch of that going on. You would think when you get to 2021, there'd be a lot less of that, but still, it appears that stuff just still does pop up. But those guys are around each other all the time, and it's a matter of who else outside of your team are you around, and that's usually where the problem runs into, because to this day people still don't know who has COVID and who doesn't. So and even if you got vaccinated, as I mentioned, you can still get COVID. And you may have COVID before you got vaccinated as well. So there's a lot of different COVID scenarios from the standpoint of passing it from person to person in the environment. And that's what you have to obviously cut down on. That's where the liability lies. And that's why it's tough on you and the MFL, because you don't have a safe space right now. And you have players that are around the country, and you have teams that are in different jurisdictions, because depending on what state you're in. I mean, if you're in Texas or you're in Florida, you're probably not seeing too many masks. If you're in other states, you're going to see many more masks. But now with the new mask mandate disappearance, then you're probably going to see fewer masks across the spectrum. And certainly across this great country. But what does that mean? What's the bottom line? And the answer is nobody knows. And that's the issue. That's the problem.
That's the scary part. And as you stated earlier, we are creatures of habit. You know what I mean? But also we have to understand that, as I stated a lot of time, we don't know what this is. Still don't know what it is, and we don't know where it come from. And more importantly, we have to get, from my standpoint, my point is, I just feel that we if we did take the shot, it would assure a lot of people are, not saying to say, but it'll cut down the chances of it spreading. But you do have a lot of people say they don't want to take it for whatever reason, and I don't blame them, because I never took a flu shot in all the years. But we have to understand that, in different parts of the country, I got back, I was in different parts of the country, and they was wearing face masks. And, and then when you're talking about opening things up, the people that goes out, it's a different type of individual. They go out and party and everything, they're carefree. If you notice, I was watching the Wizards game. I'm a supporter of all the DC professional team. There wasn't that many people at the game. So people say one thing and they do another. They really don't want to go there. But it just seemed like we're always trying to just make an excuse to keep rhetoric going, as opposed to I wish we did have the answer, Keith. Sharp individual like yourself, you always know a lot, but it's very confusing. And it puts me between a rock and a hard place, because I have to, as you stated, I got a lot of people that I have to protect. Then I have a lot of anxious young men, because for the last week or so, Keith, we've been getting so many calls from players all over the country. And they're in parts of the country where we don't have franchises, but they're willing to travel. But I warned them of that. Do you have people in those areas? And no, well, it really, it's not that serious yet. We want you to play, but if you got to come a distance, I just think that's a bit much. I think people begin to get it and understand that, it's not that you're not good enough to play in that other league. There's not enough room. I think they begin to open their eyes up to the MFL, but now we faced with a dilemma. We faced with a dilemma. And that meaning it's hard when powers to be got restraints on you. You know what I mean? That you can only do but so much. And people looking at you, they looking at you, Keith, and they looking at us. You report the news. You got the inside. Tell us what's up. But you can't tell them something that you really can't say because you restrained by certain powers to be as well. I mean, it's just it's frustrating, Keith. And you know me, I'm pushing. Security asked me to say, I was just worried, Dr. Michael, because you be pressing it so hard and stuff. Here's an idea, Keith. I'm trying to get to the mayor. Hopefully her people is listening to this and producing them. The RFK is just sitting there.
For now.
Right, yeah, well, you know, that's where the new one gonna be at. But I was just saying, it's sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, think about 55,000 people. We can put a lot of people in there and they still have social distance in that big place. You know what I mean? And the great thing about it, affordable entertainment, city get a chance to make some money, vendors get a chance to make money, people see a professional game, affordable one. I wouldn't mind giving 1,000 tickets away. That's 4,000 people. You know what I mean? And that's something that I'm trying to get around, but as you know, everybody's still kind of standoffish, but you know me, I'm pushing the envelope. I'm gonna get in there and see him if I have to sit on the step and stuff, you know me. But I think that would be a great idea, Keith, to bring the teams here, you know what I mean? But it have to be something like that to make it work and then I'm afraid too, when you bring teams from down in the South, you know, they don't wear masks. And I don't want nobody to get understand like we putting anything on there. But some places are more liberal in terms of wearing the face mask as opposed to in other areas. So that would be a great idea. What you said to that, Keith?
Yeah, it's certainly an issue. RFK is actually, in essence, would be a great idea, except it's so dilapidated, it's going to be imploded in the next number of months, which is going to be very sad for me because I covered a lot of NFL games.
I did when I was little. I walked around in there not long ago. Yeah. It's still nice enough to put on some games there.
Well, but I was inside not that long ago, and it's really, it's probably so dilapidated, safety issues and such. It was really sad to see it in the shape that it currently is in. But obviously, when teams move out of facilities, they're just going to sit there and they get old and stuff. So it will be a little painful for me to watch the implosion. I always like to watch buildings implode naturally, generally speaking. Sometimes it flashes back a little bit to 9/11, but when you watch a stadium come down, it's usually for the betterment. And that stadium, DC United doesn't use it anymore. They don't even have any offices in there.
New place.
Yeah. So Audi Field is their headquarters for everything. But they used to have a training facility there and such. But yeah, that's stadium's in really bad shape. To your point, that would be an opportunity. I don't believe you could work your magic, but I don't believe the mayor and her people would allow anybody to actually hold any sort of event in that venue because of the shape that it's in. But that said, it will be nice when a new one is eventually built. We'll see how that comes together. The Washington football team's locked in the FedEx through 2027, I believe, so it'll give DC enough time. Unfortunately, that's not on DC land; it's federal land, and I think there's a private entity involved as well. So it makes things difficult as Mayor Bowser is aware of a lot of things going on in DC property-wise, because you have Park Service involved, and you have DC involved, and you have U.S. government involved. So there's a lot of moving parts in DC from a land standpoint. But RFK does sit on federal land, so we'll see how the new stadium, where exactly it's built. So I know in essence, the plans would be to put it right on that spot
it would be the right thing to do.
Yeah,
all you have to do
is be absolutely, because you have the public transportation. I mean, it was a breeze covering NFL games at that stadium.
To get to.
Well, it's right off of 295, which is great. So I mean, I would drive down early. It'd be for us reporters, it would be at least an 8-hour day. Sometimes more like a 10-hour day. You get down before all the fans, leave after the fans. So you usually drove in, but there's public transportation. The metro is right there, but the DC Armory stop, and it made a ton of sense. And I just always enjoyed watching the hordes of people just pile out to go to the game and pile back in to when they're leaving RFK. Great memories that way, but you don't have that access to the facility. I mean, Audi Field is a nice facility, but I'm sure the rent, so to speak, for a team to go in there and play or a league to play would be a little pricey. But
it's new still. Paint ain't get a chance to settle yet. And I think there'd be but like I say, for me, it's not bad because you do have other places that's the great thing about DC. I played games at Howard University. Georgetown, they're doing a nice job on their new stadium. I don't understand.
Oh yeah.
But still, I'm still happy with Cardozo. And that's something, mark my words, Keith, that's whenever I have anything to do with it, which I will, make sure that be the home of the Chiefs. It's a perfect place, Keith. You have downtown, U Street there, all the ambiance there, the restaurants and stuff there. It would just be a natural fit. You know what I mean? I'm going to, talk to people. That's something where it's not like you really, it's more of a no-brainer than anything else. Schools, they had their little red tape and stuff, although I've gotten around that over the years. But me personally, I would prefer, Cardozo High School. I don't know if you've seen it. They put the new turf field back up there, which they badly needed. The principal, very, very nice gentleman up there. He's been there 2 years, and we talked briefly and everything. And the conversation is definitely going to be had. But it's then you're dealing with when it's going to open. When will we? That's the problem. But hopefully we would get that done. For previous years, we would not have that problem. With the Maryland coach, they're doing a nice job. We need to get over there, Keith, and see their practice. They doing a nice job. Kyle Dowdy Jr., the athletic director at Bowie State, a good friend of mine. He's been very helpful and very welcoming us, for the Maryland, coach that played there. And it's a lot of different places there in Maryland, as you know. So it's just a matter of, I know in Montgomery County, when they asked the Chiefs come out here, that when they did the New Blair, we played there. We had the option. They wanted us to bring a team to down in Silver Spring and Rockville. When they did the Richard Montgomery, the new one, it's real nice. But I just feel better about being in DC, But then again, everybody been very, very helpful to me in terms of, me doing things. But it's just about time for us to just, because we was talking about, doing a little more adjustment with the franchises, put them closer. I had dialogue with people in Delaware. They were like, Delaware, what's wrong with Delaware is a great place. I even had some dialogue with Frederick. They had the Frederick baseball team out there, what they call them, the Keys. Yeah, and that was brought to my attention last week. I had to call from people there and say, look, this would be perfect. So it would, and I always like to do things, keep everything geographically close. You know what I mean? But it's so big around here and stuff in terms of, Maryland flat, everything is big. So this division could be geographically we could do a little better than what I did in terms of New York. Rochester, Philadelphia, in New Jersey, but you want to keep something up there. but you were going back to the drawing board and see which one we would go to. But these are some of the things that we really, I'm always thinking ahead. You know me, Keep. I'm always thinking ahead. I always kind of stay 2 steps ahead, because we had a lot of kids call and want to come from Frederick and from Delaware. And, even if it's not, an hour or so, you still like to keep the kids, the young men in their areas that that they grew up and went to school at, so these are some of the things that, me, Keep, I'm constantly working like you. Just that I'm just confused on what we're doing in terms of we want to go, we can't go, and we get mixed signals. And I don't think they're doing it intentionally. I just think that they just learn it as they go as well. Always, like I say, we're going to Ray Charles and feel our way, because that's what we're doing, really.
Well, there's a huge amount of liability, and it's a matter of when is the right time, and the right time, you're never sure when the right time is when you're talking about this, and it is something that has affected a lot of people in a very negative way, and we've lost quite a few people because there's you got that. That's always in the back of your mind. I don't care really what anybody says. It's got to be a thought. If you died from some flu or disease or whatever, it does stick in your mind. I love the idea of a Delaware franchise. That would be for expansion.
Everybody talk about that. Yeah,
that's really, really good. In New York, I'd like to see something a little closer to the city, not so far as central New York, but we haven't really talked about expansion too much. But those 2 things stick in my mind. That way, you've done a really good job through the South. But bringing it back to DC, there are some high schools. I wish Howard would get on the stick and figure out what they're going to do with their stadium, because that's the last time I saw it. It was just a sad. The track was really bad too. But some of the high schools in DC have much better facilities. Roosevelt facility is really nice, Teddy Roosevelt, and then the Friendship Collegiate Academy. Beach Boys got a new facility. Congratulations to Coach Mike, and great job they've been doing there, because they win a lot of championships, as Mike will graciously tell you. But it's great to see a field, a field of dreams come true that way. So football is pretty big. It's understated in DC and in the DMV, as it's known now, but certainly it does have an impact on a lot of people. There are some nice facilities, even at the high school level. And I know that you have a few franchises in Texas, and it always takes me to Texas when I talk about that, because those Friday night games, you cannot schedule. They will not let you schedule a college game on a Friday. It is against the rules, and that's just how it is. So I'm not even sure it's really an unwritten rule. I think it's written down somewhere now. But Fridays are for high school, and those stadiums are just enormous. I mean, it's not even that the fact that they pack them historically. It's the fact that at that high school level, to be playing in a facility that big. I mean, I remember when I played in high school, we had a nice stadium, but it wasn't like something going on in Texas. That's a whole. They call it a religion, and I totally believe it. And that's but back to DC. DC has that lineage. I mean, Willie Wood and some of the all-time greats in the game played in DC and have left their mark. And it's just an indelible mark. So there is great history and just been great football. It's as understated or overlooked as it can be.
Absolutely. And, I'm just a little partial. It's something you've seen Cardozo High School Stadium. That's one of the old original stadiums that were left. And I understand how they did it. It's a C, which look good. But imagine they put stands on the other side. Man, that is the real stadium there. You remember? I mean, you look at it, and that's why, I'm going to advocate, and I'm going to pull every string I can for that to be the home. And like I say, I have had the opportunity to play at Roosevelt, but it just is one side, and they could have ran stands around because those is the only one that you really can't stand outside and watch the game. Because when you're out, the stadium is up in the air. It's all and when you're there, if you're on top, it's sitting down in the bowl, so you really can't see it. So that's the only place that you really have to pay to see it. The other schools, you're able to get away with it. And kudos to Howard because the depth of coaches that was over there always was really. I always had a great rapport with them, and I got to play the All-Star game, MFL All-Star game up there at Howard. It was great. I used to use it to play some games up there when they had that little dusty field. Then they finally turned it into but they had put a new press box up there. I don't know if you've seen that.
I haven't seen the finish. I was there when we were working on it.
Oh yeah, it's nice, but it'd be great if they did something with those facilities. Period. But then again, hey, people pay to watch football, not a science project. People don't pay money to see that, but that's what the money allocated for. And I'm not mad, but the city should have a facility for the city to use. Meaning someone like me with a minor proficiency, the city. If you notice, most places have facilities like that. You know that. And the great thing, why, as you stated about Delaware, I do have a friend, the coach up at Delaware State. You know him too, Rod Milstad. Used to play with the Redskins, got a Super Bowl ring with the 49ers. He's a friend of mine, and I think if we could talk to their school about doing some kind of alliance with them, and that'd be a great stadium. I don't know if you've been there and seen their stadium. They have a nice facility there in Delaware State. So you're right. It'd be nice at the city, the council would put together something like that. It should be a facility that they can play in. And also, we have so many schools here. I mean, you look at what Catholic University did. Nice facility, but it's just one-sided.
Right.
It's one-sided. So they wasn't really kidding. I mean, Catholic, they really don't care about football. But yeah, when they won that Rose Bowl, what was that, 1940 something? They got the football up in the cage, the Rose Bowl. I said, wow. But these are the types of alliances that I want to have with these different pieces. You give everybody an opportunity to make a little money in terms of helping, me, athletic programs, because they sure don't need no money for their academic programs, So, and getting guys an opportunity, if you stay here, which most people do when they come to school here in DC or the DMV area, they normally stay here, So these are some of the types of things that I want to do, Keith. And, I'm one person, and I push it. But right now, for the first time in my life, I feel kind of helpless. And not my doings or blaming it on anybody else. It's the signs of the times and what's going on with this. I didn't bury I've been too many funerals, going to one tomorrow, of friends, close friends that died from this. And, family member died from it. So this is real. And I tell people, I'm lucky enough, by the help of the Lord, I've been around 6 decades. A lot of people can't say that, and I'd like to be around a little more if I could, maybe 4 or 5 more. But we have to be very mindful of what's going on with this, Keith.
Right. There's no question. And that is the great unknown, and it's remained the great unknown. And even though things are loosening up and people I understand. I totally understand that people want to get out. They want to do their usual things and all that kind of stuff. You can tell by the traffic on the road that people are going someplace. You're not sure where they're going.
Yeah.
It's not rush hour per se, but it's traffic all day long. It is crazy that way. But people want that they miss that freedom, and that's the thing. That's one of the things that's great about this United States of America is you have those kind of freedoms when you, as a general citizen, you can get out and go about and do your business and get things done and such. And the last year and a half has been tough on people. It doesn't mean you're free and clear though. That's the only thing. I am certainly one of the most optimistic people in the world, but still have to be cautiously optimistic from that standpoint. Things will get better. We haven't heard about the new norm for a while, but certainly things aren't going to go back to the way they were for quite a long time. And who knows, as far as travel and different things like that, through the air or through by sea or what have you. But you just try to do what you can do. You're a great inspiration that way, a great example, because you do something every day in a positive way. You keep the wheels turning. You are this 25 plus year overnight sensation, the MFL. I mean, there's a lot of I know people that have worked for 25 years for the same company, but they're few and far between now. So to keep something going for that amount of time is tremendous, and it certainly shows the value of the product, but also it shows a lot about leadership as well, because you could easily have thrown in the towel, as the saying goes, many times over the years, I'm sure, from frustration or whatever. So,
Oh yeah, if this was easy, everybody be doing it. Also, I have my haters. Why, I don't know, but why do people do the things that they do? But the NFL, we are still signing players. You can reach us on our website, mflishere.com, or you could call us 240-551-8031. We're on all the social media platforms. And I would be remiss because, we are the nation capital, the minor football league. We here. That other league up in New York, we here. We based here. We've been here. But I also would like to get in our Wizards, give them a dog fight last night. They never retreated the whole night. And I think that hopefully Bradley, you could still sense he was hurt. Just want to get your take on, we got a few minutes, Keith. Your thoughts on the game.
Well, it's always, I love Westbrook. His addition changed the whole makeup and the chemistry and the complexion of the team. The guy is a winner. To have the record, broken the record of Oscar Robertson, who I've seen play a number of times, obviously on television, not in person, but and I was quite young at the time. But certainly just one of the greatest basketball players I've ever seen. And those guys, whether it's the NBA or the NFL or what have you, those guys to me never, ever, ever get the credit that they deserve. But for his record to stand that long, and to think of all the really, really good players that have come through that league that never accomplished the stats to break that record and how long it took, it just astounds me. Bill Russell was mentioned recently because he's back into the Hall of Fame again. It was great to see him at the NBA Hall of Fame awards and such, and he'll get in as a coach. And I'm sure that's something he never thought of. But the guys like that, between Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Lou Alcindor, and Bill Russell, some of their records will never be broken. It's just, Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 points in a game. How do you do that? And who, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Never happen again. That type of thing. So it's just phenomenal. It's great. It's always great when the hometown team wins, no matter what the sport is. We're both Washingtonians, so where I'm longtime member of the media, and I don't really root. I tell people that it's always good when the hometown team wins, no matter what the sport. But for them to actually be that close to making the playoffs is another big step for that organization, which has been floundering for a long, long time. Trading John Wall was thought of as not the best move, but when you get a guy like Westbrook in, it changes the complexity of the team, and that kind of shows you the level of player that he is, but also the guys like that that are able to do that, whether it's Jordan or it's a Kobe or it's Westbrook or it's a Curry or whoever it is. Those guys can change a team by themselves, which speaks volumes to their ability and their all around leadership. It's not just hey, can I put the ball in the hole? It's can I lead this team? Can I bring them up? That's that's why it's always and Jordan I know is a little self absorbed, but that's why when people ask me about that, to me, Jordan is probably not the greatest, but he's right there in conversation. And he also won 6 rings with a bunch of guys who somewhere else would have never gotten rings and will never be in the Hall of Fame. So that to me, when you have enough water that you can lift the boat, that tells you the kind of player you are. And what Westbrook to me is right in that realm too. So the Wizards got a tough matchup against Indiana, trying to secure that last playoff spot. If they don't make the playoffs, I mean, they still had a
Great season.
pretty darn good season because they were really out of the gate until Westbrook came to town. It was not looking good at all. So that's my elongated quick take on the Wizards.
And more importantly, you got these kids to believe in themselves, and you got to understand that's a dangerous team. The Wizards are,
Right.
and people can say what you want. They was down by 10 last night, and the coach for Boston, he said, "Well, they're gonna come at us. They're always gonna come at us. So we got to keep going, hold the ball a little longer because they're gonna make a run." And they did. They just, but. I'll say this, and I hope people don't take it wrong. Then again, I don't think we got 30 some foul calls. That was even the announcer had to say, "Wait a minute, they got 28." I mean, I'm like, wait a minute, that was a lot of calls, Keith.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I just, you've played virtually. It depends on the night, and some are phantom calls and some are non calls on on a knockdown and different things like that. So
ball down. And I thought you had to give the man an opportunity to land. You underneath him, how you gonna land? So but I would say the Wizards, I still think they're gonna get in there, and congratulations, they're doing a great job. Also for the Mather coach, Mike, I mean, congratulations to him.
Yeah.
New job. And I know you talked with him, Keith. I mean, I can't think of a better person. And it's time, for him to go. What's your take on that?
It's a big move for Mike Jones. I mean, I was a little surprised. I mean, obviously, anytime you follow a true legend like Morgan Wooten, it's always difficult. I mean, obviously, Coach Wooten is in the Hall of Fame and has left us a number of years ago. But it's a big time program, and I remember playing DeMatha when I was in high school, and we would scrimmage now. We weren't in the same league, but always competitive, and it only went up from there. So it used to be the local Catholic boys. Now it's recruiting. WCAC, Washington Catholic Athletic Conference, definitely recruits. They get the best players, and so it's tough. It's tough to win in that division. And kudos to what Joe has done over Gonzaga. There's just a lot of good competition in WCAC. But for Mike to get that opportunity at Virginia Tech, congratulations to him. It's obviously not the head coach, but still, that program has been competitive, very competitive in the ACC. They want to get more competitive, and they'd like to take down the dark blue or the light blue team at some point. So, and with Roy Williams leaving Chapel Hill as the head coach, who knows what's going to happen with the Tar Heels too. So the ACC is going to be interesting to watch for sure, basketball wise.
Also, I want to say congratulations to Left, which went to Woodson, and my old coach Bob Hedden coached him. Did a great job in the Super Bowl, offensive coordinator. I want to say congratulations to him. We doing a little something for everyone.
Yeah, I love it because I had an opportunity to interview and sit with Coach Hedden a number of months ago, and obviously he's in his own Hall of Fame that way. But what Byron has done is tremendous, and it's been great for DC, and it's good. I always love when an announcer knows about Byron enough to mention Coach Hedden, and I heard that not long ago. So that was that was fantastic, and I know you said appreciate
Absolutely.
it. So,
I,
yeah.
I want to thank you for coming on, Keith. Always, this has been another edition of Inside the MFL. We'll see you Friday. Thank you, Keith.
Thanks. Take care.